Thank you for joining me for another episode of 1000 Days of Feng Shui.
So, let's talk about magic. Shouldn't be worried about whether or not you believe in magic as much as does magic believe in you. The elite, Bohemian Grove, gathering of masses of people in costumes to perform acts that make them really enthusiastically put in the right mindset to harness what they are mentally attempting to achieve is essentially the act of what people are doing when they participate in cults to unlock higher levels of understanding and achieve status as well. To dress up in costumes and have fun, to play make-believe. There's so many different levels of ways people do approach being a part of a cult. Just in Freemasonry alone, you'll have the ones that are really into the symbols and could be standing right next to a guy who has no interest whatsoever in any of the symbols and doesn't want to be told about them at all. And and there's all kinds of different types of cults. Of course, we have the Thelema, which is the one you will definitely find in most cities, which is, a descent of the OTO, massive Crowley influence here. Some people put Crowley on a pedestal. I do not. Have I studied his works? Yes. When I was 19, I began, reading like Magic Without Tears, Diary of a Drug Fiend. But his most enlightened work, and from what I've heard, the work that he says was his greatest contribution to magic and all that stuff, was the Book of Thoughts. So anyways, yes, I'm not just knocking a guy without having put my time and energy into reading him, but some of the unsavory things that got him kicked out of Italy, like if you can look at some of the stuff he did there, like killing his friend, making him drink cat blood, and some unsavory stuff that if I mentioned, I would be flagged and this would not even be able to play online anymore, probably at a way anyone would be able to see it. So anyways, I didn't mean to get on a Crowley tangent, but magic, what people are doing when they do it is trying to put themselves in a certain mindset, because the energy as above, so below is the alchemical axiom, which is the beating heart of all magic. Now, people have been doing this for ages. If we look, the barbarians known as the Romans raided the Greeks and took their idols, but they didn't take the inherent meaning in magic within, because it was all closely guarded and secrets, and scrolls were burnt as they were coming to ransack, towns. And the only piece we're really left of from that is the Derverni papyrus, Derverni papyrus. And in that, you can actually read an Orphic poem, a poem by Orpheus. Why isn't that talked about more? I don't know. It wasn't discovered a long time ago. It is a bit more of a recent discovery, but not too recent. And it is the beating heart of the mystery schools since King Justinian the First, the Roman emperor king, outlawed the mystery schools. So permanently closing the door, whereas, see, politicians used to see the inherent connection of all life and meaning by being members of these mystery schools and understand the archetypal nature of what their dreams are telling them by going and visiting the dream temples. And so what that was replaced with is the Roman thought of just political gain through barbarism, lies, cheating, and stealing, and the men of that caliber do not see the inherent connection of all life and the mystery that we're all in participating in the sacred theophany under the chapel of the cosmos at mass daily, essentially, if our mind is in that state. So so what magic is passed on is what we find often within ourselves or within a collective. And so here we have our culture. We have the word cult, culture, our grimoire, our collection of writing is our grammar, comes from our grimoire. Our Magic Nation, our Magic Nation, it's all inherently connected, because writing and to spell was to cast a spell, like to if you look at the oldest spells, like to bind someone, they just scratch lines over someone on a tin. The person's got lines on them, like they are binded, and they would like spell out what they want to have happening to the person, and that spell is cast through intention being put into it. And how much intention, how much takes you there? Does it connect with the heavens? Does it connect with the time, the moon? Is there some seasonal reason you're doing it at this time celestially? All this stuff, I'm talking about magic through that long digression, can all be seen through the same lens as Feng Shui. What is Feng Shui doing? By moving things around inherently, we are manipulating our surroundings, connected with other forces beyond us, the heavens and everything, depending on which of the 8 Feng Shui schools you're doing with the flying stars or whatnot. And through this repurposing of our area, through working with the energy to enhance our lives, is the most magical action possible, and it's beautiful. And you can see inherently how, through that lens, looking at history, the evolution of people feeling something, adapting to it, noting what happens in the heavens, seeing the effect it happens on emperors, and as that passed on, seeing what effect it happened to people in quadrants of certain parts of the city and how auspiciously lucky they were at that time of the year versus people with doorways facing east versus south and all that. And that is the continuation and recording of magic, which is the wisdom, is people that took notes on all that through the ages. And so a lot of magic was outlawed through the, oh gosh, I know, talking about outlawing of magic got my dog angry. So, I mean, people were being burned at the stake in Europe, and in Americas and across the world for practicing and knowing witchcraft. And it all went into hiding. The stories that some could have seen as heretical were passed on under the cloak of fairy tales through the troubadours through the centuries. And so you can look at a story like Snow White and see the lens of alchemy as you realize the seven dwarves, miners, pieces of inherent of the earth are symbolic of the seven transformative metals of alchemy, and also representative of the chakras surrounding Snow White, the slumbering soul waiting to connect with the higher self that was poisoned by the ego. All the symbols retired in the myths through different lenses of some cultures that had to go into hiding with the magic. And we only just now, past few years, have seen a public resurgence of people claiming to be, Cathars and Templars and societies like that in France, and even coming here. And so, anyways, guess what I wanted to talk about is just how interconnected everything is, and inherently Feng Shui is absolutely magic for increasing your luck and your prosperity and your health, and absolutely something to focus, meditate on, and evolve with. Anyways, I wanted to talk a little bit since I haven't for a while, and thank y'all for joining me. Take care. Bye.